What's up? Hope all is well. Hope all is well. I You guys give me a few minutes before we get this thing started. Give me a few minutes. Let me check my sound. I gotta make sure my sound. I can hear it in my mics, but I gotta make sure my sound going through my little iRig is on. Let's see where we at. Where we at? Hello, 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 hello. Okay, there we go. Yes, yeah. I figured I was a little loud on this end. Hello, 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 hello. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. I should have did this before I went live, y'all. But testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, I think we good right there. We good right there. You guys have the ability on your end to calm the volume down or turn it up, whatever you need. All right, here we go. We're gonna get this thing going. All right, all right. Like I said again, y'all. I want to thank you for chiming in. Thank you for chiming in. You could have been anywhere, but today you're hanging with your guy. You're hanging with your guy. All right, so we live. Let's see, y'all. Look at my notifications. I ain't getting no notification. I like to double check and make sure that we live. So y'all give me another second or two. Give me a minute to push this out. Let all the folks know that we live. Here we go. Let's see. Okay, that's that. Boom, boom. What's this mean? Oh, to share it. Okay, y'all give me a second. I'm gonna go ahead and share this thing. All right, y'all. I don't know why this thing wants to struggle. It's struggling putting my post out there. I want to go to feed and a story. Okay, I'm gonna try one more time, y'all. All right, so it's doing what it's doing. All right, we posted, we live now. You know what I mean? It's what it is. All right, here we go, y'all. Let's get this thing popping. All right, y'all. So today, let me clear it on up. Today, again, thank y'all for chiming on in. Again, it's your guy, Mr. Haywood from Haywood's Pool and Spa. And man, it's exciting, man. I'm excited about this thing. Like I said, it's a journey that we on, and it's a beautiful one at that. It's a beautiful one at that. All right. So forgive me, guys. I got all different type of distractions going on. I got one of my guys out there. I'm getting the car right now from one of my accounts, and it appears that there's some issues with the filters. All right, so you know what? Let me tell this dude. Okay, let me respond to this right quick, guys, and I'm on. All right, so boom, 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 boom. Okay, we on. Today's episode, y'all. Guess y'all just walking in. Today's episode is on vinyl. I'm starting a new education series, and this one is going to be on vinyl basics. All right, we're talking about vinyl liners. Basically, yeah, vinyl basics, right? Talking about vinyl liner. We're dealing with vinyl pools. Now, most vinyl pools are generally above ground pools. You get some that's kind of in ground and above ground. It's not flush with the cement. They'll be maybe 2 to 3 inches off the ground. And, it's a beautiful thing. As a matter of fact, one of my neighbors just got one put in. Vinyl pools are, they're extremely cheaper, okay, than going with a plaster pool or going with a concrete pool. One of them things, man. It's extremely cheaper. Now, only difference is what I noticed about my neighbor's pool is that he don't have no way to refill the pool. You got some of the pools that are built in the ground in a sense where they have a way for them things to refill itself up. This dude's pool, I noticed when I look out the window, sometimes I see a water hose or something always on the edge of the water, dribbling water back into the pool. So that's got to be, that's what it is, right? You do the pools based on how you do them. Whatever you like is what I love it. You like it, I love it. You love it, I like it. However the saying goes. But there's no wrong or right way to do it. You got to do it based on how you do it. And so it's a beautiful thing. But again, boom, today we're talking about vinyl basics, all right? Let's jump on into this thing. Y'all spend enough time. How to service vinyl liner pools, specific water care, okay, and maintenance and repair needs. That's what we're going to be talking about today, all right? So come on in, y'all. Come on in. Let's get this thing popping. All right, here we go. Let's get started. All right, so little quick notes on the side, some tips, little notes. Enemy number one. One of the worst enemies of vinyl liners is ultraviolet light from the sun. Okay, so that's one of the worst enemies of vinyl. Now, I beg to understand what you're going to do about it. What can you do about it other than, making sure your cyanuric acids are at its proper levels? That's the only thing that helps protect the chlorine. But the vinyl per se, if you don't have no covering or no canopy or nothing to go over it, I don't really know how you'll deal with it. Dealing with discoloration. Discoloration is considered one of the most common liner problems. Okay, that's true too. It's going to discolor. It's going to discolor because of the ultraviolet light from the sun. Taming stains. How to prevent and handle staining in vinyl liner pools. Okay, that's the interesting topic too, and we'll get into that a little bit later. All right, so let's go ahead and jump in. And this article, remember, this article is coming from the Pool Spot News, the Ultimate Tech Manual. All right, now it was posted some time ago, but like anything else, if you don't know this information, then it's new to you and it's pertinent information. So it's right on time. Right now, might not be there when you want me, but I'm always right on time. All right, I'm always right on time. All right. So let's jump into this thing. If you have spent most of your career working exclusively on concrete pools, it's crucial to learn about the distinct differences between vinyl and concrete before accepting maintenance jobs that involve package pools. All right. Now they call a liner pool a package pool. I don't know. Let's keep going to figure out why. Following is a closer look at the care and maintenance of vinyl liner pools. All right. So water care. One of the biggest differences between vinyl liner pools and plastic pools is how sensitive they are to sanitizers and other chemicals. Okay. Vinyl liner pools can be much less forgiving when it comes to water care than plaster or pebble aggregate finishes. Okay. So it's important for the water chemistry variables to be regularly maintained within the recommended levels. All right, so we're going to stop right there real quick. And I talked about it being much forgiving. The reason why vinyl liner is much more forgiving, and this is off the top of my head, this is what I think I know, right? I ain't been in the game that long, but this is what I think I know. Excuse me, sorry about that. Plaster or pebble pools, there is a time period, okay, for when you get a plaster pool done, right? They're going to do what they do. They hose it down, try to drain some of the stuff. But when you fill your water into that pool, okay, whether it's Pebble Tech or that plaster, what's going to happen is the chemicals, the very different chemicals that you're putting in the water are going to for lack of better words, eat at that plaster or eat at that pebble tech. Or pebble aggregate. Let me use a better word. Okay. It's going to eat at it. So there's going to be some dust that comes out. There's going to be some other plaster that comes off of into that pool because of the chemicals eating at that stuff. Until it does what it's supposed to do, there's going to be a time where that fine dust is going to come off of that thing. And you're going to have to, and forgive me, I'm not drawing blood. I'm just trying to find the proper words, the proper statement. You're going to have to basically, okay, let me back up some. So basically, when you get, okay, so let's say a brand new pebble. See, now, if you got an old plaster or old pebble, you ain't got nothing to worry about, but it's only in the beginning, right? So I read something where I think it's like 30 days or something like that, where you're going to have to allow the chemicals to eat at that plaster, eat at that pebble until it calms down, for lack of better words. Does that make sense? It's going to be a time frame to where this stuff is going to be eating at the stuff, and it's going to be like I want to use the word milking or like secreting or just etching, like stuff is going to keep getting in the water, for lack of better words. And you're going to have to run that filter, run that filter, run that filter. When you backwash, the waste. You don't backwash back into the water. You got to backwash the waste because you got to get this stuff off the wall and out of the water. So that's why I believe that they say that vinyl is a little bit more forgiving, because vinyl is nothing but plastic. There's nothing as far as plaster or pebble dust that can come off and get into the water. So that's why I believe it's a little bit more forgiving. All right. So that's just my two pieces. Let's keep going. Some experts warn that if there's anything under the recommended ranges, particularly calcium, which is that calcium hardness, it's going to eat at that wall. pH and alkalinity, the water can become corrosive and destroy copper. Okay, if it's over the proper ranges, scale formation can ensue. So yes, if your calcium levels ain't right, calcium can get too high. Like I said, the pH and the alkalinity, really the alkalinity part of it, because if it's too much alkalinity, that's one problem. If it's too acidic, there's another problem. And basically, when it's too acidic, that's when it's going to get corrosive and destroy the copper. Okay, so you got to always make sure that your chemicals are in the proper balance, right? Properly balanced. That's the reason why we go out to the pools and we test them once a week. All right, test them once a week. But you're only dealing with calcium and pH so often, depending on what type of chlorine you put in. So let's go out there and let's say your chlorine levels are low and you want to dump liquid chlorine. Now, the liquid chlorine is the fastest way to get that chlorine in the water. But here's the problem. Liquid chlorine is not 100%. Like the percentages are low, and it's got some pH stuff in it, which is going to alter that pH. So you got to be careful when you're dumping that liquid in. You do better putting the tablets in. Tablets take a little bit longer, but it is what it is. It all depends on what you're trying to do, right? If you're trying to shock that pool and get that pool back up or get the chlorine levels back up, then like I say, you can use your liquids, but you have to, it varies based on your situation, all right? So in this particular article, they say the chemical options, you want your pH to be between 7.2 and 7.6. Now, in class, we learned 7.4 to 7.8. But it's basically 7.2 to 7.6. Somewhere in that range is going to be proper. Total alkalinity should be between 100 and 150 parts per million. All right. Your calcium hardness should be between 200 and 300 parts per million. Your cyanuric acid should be between 30 and 100 parts per million. And their free chlorine's got to be between the magic number between 1 and 4 parts per million. All right. And this is how you keep a properly chemically balanced pool. Now, I'm gonna look at some of my. I'm just gonna tap into some of my notes. I'm gonna tap into some of my notes real quick to see if I can validate that. And always here, man. Anything that you hear me talking about on this thing, make sure that you validate it. All right, go look it up online. Always validate. Check. Don't take my word for it just because I'm a professional. All right. I want you to take my word for it, but always check. And again, if you find something that I'm talking about ain't correct, okay, ain't politically correct, then hit me up, man. Talk to me about it. Now, you don't gotta blast me, but do me a favor and shoot me a message on Instagram. Shoot me one on YouTube. Come in the messaging and let's chat. Let's talk. Put one in the chat. Put it in the chat. All right. let's talk about it. You can also email us at haywoodpoolspa@gmail.com. It's haywoodpoolspa@gmail.com. All right, y'all. My notes is all over the place. I can't find where I've been. Okay, there it is right there. 74 to 76. This says 72 to 76. This says 74 to 76. That's about right when it comes to pH being in the range. All right. And so that's an acceptable range. Cyanuric acid should be between 30 to 50 monthly. That's something that we check monthly. They say 30 to 100. 100 being on the high side. I mean, I guess if you got more cyanuric acid, that'll be the longer it takes before the sun burns it off. But truthfully, it's 30 to 50. Okay. Anything over 50, is what it is. All depends. Okay. But my notes say 30 to 50. All right. Is what it is. Okay. So let's keep going. With vinyl liner pools, you have to be more particular about the chemicals you use. Okay. Got to be particular because, again, that vinyl is pretty sensitive. Many texts say chlorine gas should never be applied in these pools because it will lower the pH. Now, if you got a vinyl liner pool, what's the option? What is the oh man, I'm all over the place, drawing blanks today, man. What is the odds? Is the word I'm looking for that you're gonna use chlorine gas? Chlorine gas ain't really used nowhere, y'all. There are some commercial applications, like major commercial applications. You're talking about like Olympic sized pools and stuff like that may use it. Maybe like schools that are built up. Like there's a school in LA called LACES, the Los Angeles Center for Enrichment Studies or something like that. And they got a really big facility that they share with the city. Okay, so when you go in that particular thing, I used to wonder all the time why it always smelled heavily like chlorine. Well, that was your combined chlorine, not the free chlorine. And so, if you ever walk into a situation and the chlorine is burning you at the eyes, there's something wrong, y'all. There's something wrong. All right, back to the article. They say that the chlorine gas should never be applied. Okay, others all avoid liquid chlorine or sodium hypochlorite. Okay. Because it can concentrate and bleach the liner if the product isn't broadcast evenly through the pools. Okay. Instead, they'll opt for calcium hypochlorite. Okay. If you use cal hypo, though, first mix the powder well with the water. Okay. Broadcast it in the deeper end and be sure to brush the walls and floor afterwards so nothing settles or clings to the surfaces. This should reduce the risk of the liner fading. Okay. Others suggest placing the cal hypo in the skimmer to ensure even dispersal. That's what I was thinking. I'm thinking like, okay, well then the only way to get around that is to put it in the skimmer and allow it to disperse. It'll come through the system and back out into the pool evenly, right? Though some warn that this may send too much concentrated sanitizer directly into the plumbing and equipment, which can damage them. So what do? If the source water is high in calcium, texts recommend avoiding cal hypo and calcium-related products altogether. Why? Calcium will calcify the walls and cause the total alkalinity to increase. All right, so now, in this particular paragraph, they mentioned source water, okay? How do you figure that out? Well, you got to go to the source. Where is the water that's being provided for the pool? And this is something that us as techs check anyway, especially like when you get a brand new contract. You don't really know what's going on. So you got to do some of your own little preliminary stuff, make some notes. And the beautiful thing is, if you're good at note taking, then the old pad and pen work. But nowadays, they got so many different apps out there. As a matter of fact, I'll run you through the one that I use. The one that I use is called Skimmer. I use the Skimmer app. And when you open the Skimmer app is beautiful because it has a lot of different things that you can do, stores a lot of different information for you, especially when you get to a pool. You're able to take pictures of the backyard. You can take pictures of before and after. You can it also log in where you are as far as, okay, when I got there, where was my calcium level? Where was my alkalinity? Where was my pH battle? Where was my chlorine levels? You put all that into the system will help you keep track of it too. I mean, there's so many different things that Skimmer app can do. We're not going to go here. That's for a different video, we will go through that for a different video. But for now, I just wanted to let you know that for the modern pool professional, there's so many different apps, but that's the one that when I was coming through class, my teacher talked me into getting that one. I think he got something to do with it, but I'm not sure. But anyway, it's working for me so far. You're even able to take, like I said, before and afters and send it to the customers. Also, let them know what type of chemicals, and what they owe you in the end, right? Based on top of your regular pool service. Because pool service is one thing, guys, a lot of people don't know, but when we get to adding chemicals and stuff, that stuff gets expensive. I got to charge you for it, right? So multiple ways in how to do that. But, again, it's neither here nor there. So if you so make sure you check the source water. Okay, if it's already high in calcium, don't use Cal Hypo or anything that's calcium related. All right. In such cases, liquid bleach will be a good alternative as long as it's distributed evenly throughout the pool while the circulation system is on. So make sure your circulation system is on, and then there's the way. Basically, when you take that bottle, you walk forwards or backwards down the side of that pool, like towards the deep end, and you disperse that stuff. Pour it in that water and evenly try to take it all the way around or as far as you can go with it. That way it sort of evenly disperses throughout the water and it doesn't cling to that liner, okay? The use of stabilized chlorine products in vinyl liner pools is something experts still debate. Some techs say that they use them without repercussions, while others warn that these chemicals can harm the liner, okay? Trichlor, however, probably won't be strong enough to get the job done if problems such as algae developed, okay? And be warned that trichlor floaters can bleach the liner if allowed to sit in one place for too long. You know, you got those little floaty things. I don't know if I was watching a video one time where I seen this dude do his thing and he tossed it up in the air and it hit the water because it's always going to turn right side up, and it'll float. And that's something else that people put the tablets in so that things just sort of floats around the water. But let's just say, for whatever reason, it gets stuck in one of the corners. Well, now it's in the corner of that liner, dispersing that bleach right there on that particular liner. Now you're going to run. You have the potential. Let me not say what you're going to do. Allegedly, you will or could have the possibility of bleaching that particular part of the liner. So you got to keep that under mind, okay? It says, also, if your total alkalinity is already low, don't use trichlor tablets because they have an acid base, which will force the total alkalinity even lower. So it's a lot, guys. You know, people look at pool guys and you think, oh, this is some young guy or some older man, that's doing whatever he's doing. But no, there's a lot of chemistry involved in this stuff and a lot of paying attention and just being mindful of what's going on as it's going on. Right? Does that make sense? For customers seeking an alternative sanitizer for packaged pools, I don't even know this word. It's big guanides. I say biguanide, BIGUANIDS. Biguanides work particularly well, though they can be very expensive. Okay, so that's okay. So that's water care. All right, so we're gonna move it up. We're gonna move forward to chemical ranges. All right, you guys have any questions about that? Any questions? Let's talk, man. Drop something in the chat. Drop it in the chat if you got any questions. All right. So let's move forward because I don't see nobody raising their hands. There ain't no questions. All right, let's keep going. Chemical ranges. All right. Using the right kind of sanitizers and chemicals is all well and good. But if you don't keep the water balanced and all variables in the proper ranges, you can still harm the liner. The recommended chemical parameters for liner vinyl pools come in an array of ranges. The chart above shows a compilation of some of the most common ones. Okay, and we went over that, right? We talked about the pH, the total alkalinity, calcium hardness, cyanuric acid, and the free chlorine. Those are your basic things that you need to be concerned and worried about. Chemical ranges. Using the right kind of sanitizers and chemicals is all well and good. Okay, we went over that. All right, so we talked about the common ones. When levels drift from these recommended ranges, the liner can be affected depending on which direction the levels turn. For instance, when the total alkalinity goes too far out of range, techs warn that the liner begins to break down and can lose its elasticity. Now, the only way to really know that, guys, is to, again, be around some dudes who have the experience. Now, I've talked to a lot of guys, and a lot of guys are like, they don't even want to deal with vinyl. Somebody got to deal with it, though. They don't want to deal with it. So when I was doing my studying, because again, it's like any trade or field that you get into, in this case, we're diving into the pool field. You want to know a little bit more about it, study everything that you can, communicate with as many people as you can, just so that you can start to. I think of it like a bookshelf. Start to line them books up. Knowledge. What I need, and so that way you begin to build. Your foundation's got to be great, but if you're on a rocky foundation, you can't expect nothing else. So knowledge is the key to this thing, right? And so it's key to this thing. So while industry standards allow for a chlorine range of 1 to 4, some texts recommend keeping it as close to 1 as possible to avoid bleaching the liner. Now, again, when I was going through this thing, I remember talking to the manager over at Leslie's in Lancaster, over there off of Valley something. The guy told me that, guess what? He goes, vinyl pools is a big market for vinyl pools because most of the guys don't want to attack them. So guess what? Haywood's Pool and Spa is looking to be number one at everything, especially vinyl pools. All right. So let's get into the shocking truth. The shocking truth. If the service tech needs to pay close attention to which chemicals they put into vinyl liner pools, okay, it would follow that shocking the water in such vessels could be a dicey proposition, meaning you rolling the dice. However, tech say that if you use the right products, it's no more difficult than shocking the water in any other kind of pool. So what that tells me, just based on what that paragraph right there, is that you got to build your knowledge. You got to get comfortable at what you're doing. All right. That's what it boils down to. Like I say, new things, they say new money, new devils. Well, new types of pools, new situations, and new knowledge that has to be obtained. Okay. And as long as you obtain the proper knowledge in anything you do, always defer to the manufacturer. Guess what? The people that build these pools got to know something about them. So go talk to the peoples. Don't just figure it out on your own. All right. So for superchlorinating, aka shocking, okay, vinyl liner pools, nothing beats lithium chloride, okay, says veteran technicians. The advantages are that it won't bleach the liner as readily or calcify its walls. Lithium hypochlorite probably will be the choice of vinyl liner pool techs for that day-to-day sanitation chores if its high price didn't make it cost prohibitive. Okay, now that's the sweet to that. Now it sounds like it'd be a great thing, but if it's going to cost me more than what it needs to cost, look, man, any service job, we're here to provide services for folk, right? And I'm going to tell you that it's something that I love doing and I don't care about the money. But at the end of the day, if I ain't making no money, how do I stay afloat? There's no way I can keep coming to you if I can't afford the gas in my vehicle, if I can't afford the chemicals, and then if I pass because the price is so high, when I pass the price on to the customer or the client, if they're like putting their hair out, it's not going to work for none of us. Okay, so just keep in mind that there's several options out there. Okay, if you choose a lithium chloride for shocking, mix the powder into a slurry and distribute it via the skimmer basket for even circulation throughout the pool. And that's basically just taking the powder, putting some water into it, stirring it up, making it like a slick, like a milkshake, or better yet, like you did with concrete, and then put it in the skimmer. Before shocking the pool, keep in mind that the chemicals you have recently put into the water. Okay, certain combinations of chemicals that individually will have no effect can cause a bleaching if the concentration is allowed to remain high in the vicinity of the liner, text warned. You should allow the chemicals to disperse throughout the pool through the circulation system after adding the second chemical. Okay. So basically, again, paying attention to what kind of chemicals you're using and making sure that it circulates through the system, okay, evenly. Now, when it comes to routine maintenance, dirt and grime that accumulates at the water line can also play a major role in shortening the life of a liner, okay? So dirt and grime that accumulate at the water line, okay? Well, I mean, here's the thing. Because you got a vinyl liner pool, unless you're willing to pay for me to come to your pool more than once a week, most techs still ain't gonna come there, but once a week. The difference is the only way to avoid certain things is what do you got going on in your backyard? You got trees, you got this, you got that. You know what I mean? Is there a high concentration of birds hanging around? Pooping, crapping. Are there different types of bugs and different things getting in that water? I mean, I don't know. But again, the water line is very important to keep an eye on that water line, okay? Because it plays a major role in shortening the life of a liner. Similar to a bathtub rain, the phenomenon is usually caused by airborne debris mixing with body and suntan oils and other organics and collecting on the liner. Okay, it's then baked in by the sun, which can cause the vinyl to dry and crack prematurely, especially in the area of the pool where sunlight appears the brightest and the longest. All right. So again, brushing your walls, making sure that because a lot of vinyl pools I notice also people like taking shortcuts and they'll cut that timer off. Or they don't have a timer built into the system at all, and they have to physically go out there and turn everything on. Well, the twist of that is, what if you are a hard worker? You're working hard and you didn't get home that day. Maybe your kid had a game or your wife had, some things on the job or whatever she's into, and nobody got out there and circulated that pool. A pool needs to circulate at least 6 hours a day. That's on minimum. It takes 6 hours for a pool to circulate one full cycle, for all the water to go through. 6 hours, y'all. So it needs to stay on at least 6 hours a day. And the skimmer will help keep that water moving on the top of that thing. But when the water gets stale, because again, we got some folks that think they smart and want to think they saving a dime. If you want to save a dime, don't get a pool. I'll say that again. If you're cheap and you're worried about electricity, don't get a pool, okay? Because the pool needs to run, circulate at the least 6 hours a day, okay? So again, we worried about when it comes to buying a pool, we're worried about the surface water and the different bathers' waste settling on the top. Care must be taken to wipe down the water line on a regular basis. Use a plain sponge or one in conjunction with the recommended vinyl cleaner to stave off dirt and grime buildup. Okay. Brushing is fine. But like I said, you want to use a soft sponge to get in there and go around that water line. Okay. In addition, the technique you use when wiping down the liner is important. Don't be overly aggressive, okay? If you rub too vigorously, you can move the liner back and forth. Sand will work its way right through the liner because guess what's under that liner? Sand, y'all. They dug the ground up, then they filled it with sand, then they dumped the liner, then they stuck that liner, laid that liner off in there, all right? So again, you don't want to rub it too hard. You can rub the pattern right off, okay? So don't rub too vigorously, okay? Okay. Some texts say that if the buildup is so bad that you must rub it hard, maybe you just need to replace the liner. So there comes time where that liner, like I said, that water line is going to stain, and it ain't going to come off after a while. Now, replacing the whole liner is going to be expensive, but it's a lot cheaper than putting a new concrete or a plaster pool, PebbleTec pool in. Regular brushing is recommended to keep excessive chlorine from clinging to the walls and fading the liner pattern, experts say. And I guess the liner pattern is if your liner had different types of patterns in it. Some people's liners are just blue. Ain't nothing going on. Some folks got designs and stuff in there. Once the water line is clean, it's a good idea to add a layer of protection. Many products that are not petroleum or alcoholic based are available. They will protect the liner from further buildup. Try not to drain the pool unless you're planning to do some major repairs or refitting. Okay. And that's why if your pool is not set up to where it has a system to where it knows when the water levels are low and how to push more water back in there, then you got to make sure that water stays high, especially in the summertime, because the sun will dry out the top of the water around that liner. Okay. If you find that some draining is unavoidable, do not lower the water less than a foot in the shallow end. If water pressure is removed from the liner, even for a short time, it could shrink and become unsightly or possibly tear around the fittings and around the corner. So it's very important dealing with that vinyl that it stays full. When it comes to cleaning equipment, okay, brushes, vacuums, or even automatic cleaners, be sure to choose those suited to vinyl liner pools. Okay, every implement that is made for cleaning swimming pools is also made in vinyl liner form. As long as you use the implements made for these type of pools, you should never have a problem. For example, a gunite pool brush has square edges, while a package pool brush has upturned rounded edges. It'd be more like a triangle, okay, smooth around the edges. All right, and then the brushes are a lot lighter. They're not as aggressive for the other type pools. If the pool has an automatic cleaner or the homeowner is in the market for one, be sure that it's a brand design for use in vinyl liner pools. All right, it's very important. Use a vinyl liner vacuum, one that has brushes instead of wheels. Okay. And again, that's the vacuum head. I think it's like triangle, and it's like a blue plastic, almost look like those sparkling water bottles. All right. While the liners are surprisingly durable, you still want to be careful, especially in the corners. All right. One final tip. All right, y'all. I got one final tip, and we're gonna get out of here if no further questions. The last tip that I have for you is to help your brushing and stain fighting regimen. Okay, keep the water level as high as possible. That way, there'll only be 2 to 3 inches exposed of vinyl that you'll ever have to keep clean. Okay, and that's what's important. Making sure that the water levels stay high in the vinyl pools. All right. So again, if you got an automatic leveler that senses when the water levels is getting low and automatically feeds the right amount of water in, sweet. If not, especially in the summertime, water evaporates. Okay, most vinyl liner pools don't have no heaters in them, and if it did, it's going to evaporate even more. So make sure that you keep up with that water level. And I think that, man, if you do that, you'll be great. You'll be in the money. All right. So, man, that's it, man. I ain't got nothing else for you. Like I said, if you have any questions or concerns, please be sure to drop messages in the chat. I'm always checking the messages. Go over to our email, Haywood's Pool Spa at gmail.com, and drop us a message there. Or, man, shoot on over to the Instagram, man. Shoot us a message there. Either way it go, we'll answer it. If we get enough questions, we'll go ahead and make a video out of it. If not, then what I'll do is in the next video, I'll be sure to come on in, and at the beginning, we'll address the questions. If there are no questions, that means I'm doing my job, and I'm pronouncing my words and crossing my T's and my S's properly, and there's no questions. It's good. Please go back, always rewind. Like I said, this is another education series that we're doing, and this one is on vinyl. All right. Remind you can always find these articles in the Ultimate Tech Manual. And hey, man, let's do it. Let's do it. Take your time, do it right. Brush them walls, baby. It's like brushing your teeth. Gotta brush the walls to get the stuff that you can't see off. All right. So with that being said, it's your guy, Mr. Haywood from Haywood's Pool and Spa. As usual, man, we're educating, we're talking that talk, and we're getting it done. All right. So this is episode number 11, and it was entitled Vinyl Basics. All right. So we got more episodes coming. Like I said, check out our education series. I think the one that we did before this one was on pool filters, and you know what I mean? I think that one went about 10 episodes. This one is not going to be as long, but again, I'm giving it to you how it's given to me, y'all. I was just reading this article. I thought that it'd be great for the folk, and hey, man, check it out, man. All right, let's get these numbers up. Let's get it in, and make sure, okay, that you like, okay? Give me a thumbs up, guys. Make sure that you share, and make sure that you subscribe. You got to subscribe, guys. That subscribing is how we get the people to know what we're doing. Liking puts me in the algorithms. Sharing, let your folks know what I'm doing. Come on, let's keep it frank. If what I'm talking about don't interest you at all, that's okay. It's okay. Share with somebody else that may have a pool. Because obviously, if you don't have a pool, then it's nothing for you to worry about. I don't have a pool either, right? But I'm a pool guy. I'm a service tech. Okay. We offer all types of different services. Okay, so please check us out. If you go back through and look at my intro video, at the end of my intro video, it pauses and it speaks to all the services that we provide. I don't got my sheet in front of me, so I don't want to try to come off the top of my head, But man, new pools, existing pools, you need to change pumps. If you're looking for pool service, hit us up. There's a fee for that. If you just need me to come through and change the pump, hit me up. There's a fee for that too. I'm not trying to beat you over the head. I'm just looking to make some money for my family. All right. And keep this thing going. As usual, I love you to life. You could have been anywhere, but you chose to hang out with me. And man, it's a beautiful thing if it's not so boring that you finish the video. Because I know sometimes education is boring, but knowledge is key. And so you have to go through it in order to understand and learn the things that you need. So today we talked about water care, right? We talked about the chemical ranges, different ranges that the chemical should be in. We talked about, the shocking truth. All right. And then we also talked about routine maintenance. All right. So with that being said, I'm out of here, guys. That's my time. I love you to life, Mr. Haywood from Haywood's Pool and Spa. I'll see you on the next video.